In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys starting the free agency cycle very slow. Before we get in this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to us about the channel a ton, and let's get into the video. So the Cowboys are off to a slow start in the 2025 free agency cycle. Kind of surprising because I thought they were kind of be aggressive finally. The joke that's going around in Dallas and on Twitter is the Dallas Cowboys really haven't done much in free agency since, like 2015 or 2016, something like that. They had some big signings, but, obviously the meme is them passing up on Derrick Henry, and that will be ever a Jerry Jones meme. To the Cowboys fans, obviously, that type of stuff is annoying, so you thought that they would be aggressive, and they've made some deals, but, I just don't think it's good enough for them. Before free agency, about a week ago, the Cowboys decided to free up money restructuring CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott's contract. So they needed to do this because obviously Dak is the highest paid quarterback in NFL. However way you feel, he literally is the highest paid quarterback in the league, so you had to restructure and try to get some money to help build the rest of this roster. And they did the same thing with CeeDee Lamb and restructuring some of his contract to free up some money. And they re-signed their defensive tackle for, I think it was like 4 years, $80 million. So I'm sure some of that money went to that. And I have a pretty good feeling that, the reason why they did this with CD and Dak was to potentially pay Micah Parsons soon, to get all three of those guys paid, which I don't know how smart that would be for the Cowboys, because obviously this team isn't good enough right now to win a Super Bowl. So you adding, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons to, having these humongous contracts where you can't really build the rest of the team just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think you would have to let one of those guys walk. But obviously, I think Jerry Jones wants to focus in on those three players. Maybe he thinks he can build around them. Who knows? But just taking a look at the Dallas Cowboys free agency tracker, they signed Solomon Thomas from the Jets, 2 years, $8 million. He's a defensive tackle. Kevontae Turpin, who's been pretty decent for them, he re-signed 3 year, $18 million. Javonte Williams for the Broncos, 1 year, $3.5. They need a running back depth. I think they'll probably draft a running back as well. Robert Jones from the Dolphins, 1 year, $4.75 million. He's a guard for them. And then they literally, like an hour ago, traded for Bills' Career Elam and gave up a 5th round pick and a 7th round pick. So, and I saw some statistics after this trade went down that he hasn't been that great for the Bills. Maybe a change of scenery. I liked him at Florida, so maybe a change can boost him and have a really good year for them because they need it. They really do. So I've been trying to figure out for a few days, like, what is the thing that can make the Cowboys a Super Bowl contender? And this is a really hard-hitting question for me. Obviously, you're paying CeeDee Lamb, you're paying Dak Prescott, you're probably going to end up paying Micah Parsons, you're paying the defensive tackle that you just did for $80 million for 4 years. So you have a lot of money built up and used already, so you can't really build the rest of the roster the way that you like it. So I don't know how you really build this team to a Super Bowl contender, but I think it would help. They need a number 2 wide receiver, and Cooper Kupp has been rumored for Dallas since the end of the season. I expect him to potentially pursue him, and I think that would be a good number 2 next to CeeDee Lamb. He's a great route runner, really consistent. Obviously, he isn't what he was a few years ago when they won the Super Bowl in Los Angeles, but, man, Cooper Kupp's a really good receiver still to this day. He had a decent year last year, so I think him as a number 2 would be really good for the Cowboys. They need to really focus on getting a number 2 because I think that's one of the reasons why they struggled last year on offense, too. Obviously, you had Dak Prescott out, but them not having a number 2, it just did not look good in my opinion. And then running back, I think you got to go running back in the draft potentially. I think Ashton Jeanty has really been rumored to Dallas, and I think if he falls to them, I think he'll definitely get picked. Maybe they look at a Dylan Sampson or a Trayvon Henderson. There's a lot of this running back class is really amazing, so they're gonna have a lot of options to pick from, and they definitely need a number 1 guy. Javonte Williams, he's good. He's a good player for the Broncos. He's not nothing special, but, an average good player. He could be a good number 2. good rotational third down back. But you need a number one guy, and they have to go get that. This other position, I was kind of, obviously, I don't think they're bad at this spot, but I think having another guy, maybe at the edge position or the defensive line, somewhere on that defensive line, linebacker as well. That front seven needs to get shored up a little bit better. I think they struggled in the run game a lot last year, and I just think that they need, I would say potentially a Trey Hendrickson, trading for a guy like that. Obviously, at Micah, I'm not saying replace him, but, I think having another threat onto edge would be cool. They need a decent-sized linebacker. I mean, it feels like they really struggle fitting gaps, fitting holes. So I think they need to focus on that front seven on defense. I think the secondary, I don't think it's bad. Obviously, Diggs, and you have Bland, and you have those guys. Now you have Elam. I think those three should be able to get the job done and be decent for you. But ultimately, this Dallas Cowboys team comes down to a few things. It comes down to Dak Prescott and coaching. And I think Dak Prescott has to start playing well in postseasons. We know he's good in the regular season, but he has to hit another level for this team to be a contender for a Super Bowl. And I just don't know if it's going to happen. One, I don't think the roster's good. I think he has to play ridiculously good. And I think the Cowboys have to figure that out. And Dak Prescott, and obviously CeeDee Lamb has to be a dude. They really have to go off this year to be a good team, in my opinion. I think they could be looking at 7-8 wins potentially, or maybe even lower. Maybe they could be a wild card team, but I'm not really high on the Cowboys. I don't really agree with their philosophy on firing Mike McCarthy, but they did it anyways. I think they could have probably kept him. I don't think he did a bad job. I think he won 12 wins, a few times already in Dallas. If Dak has been healthy, he's been a good coach for them, and they've been a decent regular season team. But yeah, that'll do for me. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.